I know I've been chatting to myself since the day I was born, but I've been chatting to myself, for quite a while here today. It's a little bit lonely, so I'm really excited to invite some people up, and I'm going to have a little geek out session with them, which I'm sure you guys will appreciate as well. I will be asking all the questions that you probably want to ask them. Super excited. We have the mastermind. Oh, I feel like we need a drum roll for that one. Behind Chamber and Limited Edition, we've got Mr. Mandeep Chopra. He is equipped with a vast knowledge of shoe types and builds. Mandeep is easily one of the most influential people when it comes to sneakers in the region. He's going to be joined by, of course, Mr. Sabotage, aka Mr. Mark Ong, who probably needs no introduction. You have seen his stuff from culture cartels in the past. You see his stuff on shoes, including shoes right here, which you will see in just a little bit. This man, among the few people in Singapore, has put Singapore on the map. I'm a huge fan. I'm so excited to introduce both of them. Gentlemen, if you may. Hello. It's so quiet. Let's give him a round of applause. Hey, friends, you want to take a seat?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Let's be casual about this. Hello, how's everyone feeling today?
Very good.
Good?
Yeah.
I like your mask, huh?
Thank you.
Nice, huh? It looks familiar. You can't steal that one. You got to pay for it, Yeah, no freebies today for you. How's it going, Mandeep?
Very good. Thank you for coming to Chamber and
No worries.
and hosting this. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. You're going to have a hard time kicking me out, though. I'll tell you in advance.
Okay.
Yeah, I might, I feel like this sofa, I'm quite small. I can sleep on it, no problem.
Okay. I'll pass you the key later. How about that?
We'll have a chat.
I'm not going to stay back. I'm sorry. I'm
Then-
tired.
No, that's fine.
after-
I totally get it.
So you can wake up for tomorrow's session. Is there
Correct.
another session tomorrow?
No.
Not that I'm aware of. Maybe we can make one right now.
We totally could. Okay, so gentlemen, obviously we've got these incredible shoes in front of us. You gotta talk me through, man. You gotta talk me through.
First.
Mark, why don't we start with you?
Okay. So right here we have a pair of breads that are customized to a pair of, these are called the Rehab. So in 1985, 86 season, Michael Jordan broke his foot because he landed flat-footed after a dunk and he broke his foot. And then I believe that this was the first significant sneaker customization in history
Okay.
that Nike made for him to rehab his shoes. So there's that ankle brace right here for him to wear during practice and all that. And I'm surprised that nobody has ever replicated this. So this has been on the back burner in my head for the past 15 years. And I said, still nobody has done it, so why not replicate it and paying my respect and homage to this significant piece of history.
Right.
So we managed to replicate it by finding the exact hardware and the angles of the strap. It's all in pictures, and recently, the original version, I believe there's two in existence.
Okay.
Sold for almost $600,000 and happened to make this a little bit before the auction went on, so I'm very proud of it. It has never been made in a bread colorway before, so
Oh, nice.
I'm celebrating a what-if alternate universe scenario
Right.
with Culture Cartel.
And
presenting
obviously with
this
your own laces as well.
with these laces that are custom dyed, 35-year-old fade. Yeah, so
Whoa.
yeah, like you said, we are geeking out a little bit. Right? So
Do it.
I collect vintage 1985 Jordans, and what I realized is after 35 years, the laces fade and they reveal this beautiful undertone that has never been seen before, and it's like I'm super fascinated. So I decided to like replicate them, and
Right.
here we have them. So
I love it.
it's under this brand called Foxtrot Uniform.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Beautiful. I'm always a fan of the breads. I think they're classic. They're beautiful. They look great on women and guys. You can match them with anything. Mandeep, are you a fan of the breads? Or do you like
know what?
white silhouettes?
Do you know what? I'm not a Michael Jordan fan. I never been. I supported every other team except the Bulls. So I was always a Lakers fan, so it was like a Magic Johnson thing. So that's why I started watching. So
Right.
yeah, I'm one of the few. So I've never worn a Jordan.
You have never worn a pair of Jordans.
That's me being the Lakers fan, and you know,
Alright.
Yes, but is he the greatest ever? Without doubt. But sometimes it's a love-hate thing. So
I love that you can be objective about it, though. And you can separate the player from the shoes and from.
sure. I thank him. He sold me a lot of shoes. I thank him for that. That's the business side of me.
Business.
Yes, but he's not my favorite player.
Okay. So none of these shoes really would be on your feet at any point.
No, Air Force Ones are cool. And maybe might as well straight away bring me so I can talk about this. So yeah, this is done. Amazing story, Mark.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way I can replicate that, but this one is great too. This is actually done by some friends from down under.
Nice.
Chase Shield and Kickstand. So shout out to Jay for taking part in Culture Cartel. So Air Force One's classic silhouette, buttery soft leather, I must say, with this. So what they've done is this beautiful paisley print.
Wow.
And what you can do actually, it comes with a picker, and you can kind of pick it to reveal a Culture Cartel and Kickstand's logos inside the thing. So it's really, really nice. So you can have a bit of fun with it. Actually, it's alligator skin on the swoosh.
Is it really?
Yeah, so it's small details which you wouldn't be able to probably catch it on camera, but yeah, and a beautiful lamb skin insole with I'm not sure we can zoom in and see. Here, this camera. Yeah. So it's with the Culture Cartel branding and the kickstand and chase shield inside, and it's made of lamb skin. So really, really nice premium materials on this one. So yeah, shout out to those guys. And both these shoes will be available for ballot. I think you got about a week to ballot for it, and 5 winners each. And also 1 pair is going to go out on the grand raffle.
Amazing.
So this would be a cool one to win. Both of them would be really cool ones to win. Yeah, I think that's all I have.
That's super cool. And obviously, people, if they're interested in it, they're going to be on display here, right? They can come down.
Yes.
Check them out, suss them out. Are they a particular size that they're going to be winning? Yes.
I think they can ballot all the way from 8 to 12.
Wow.
So, but 5 winners only. And yeah, and after that, the 2 artists go to work to replicate this beautiful pair after this. So, it will take a few weeks to get your pair, but, you want it perfect. So that's what they're going to do. It's worth it.
Worth the wait.
It's worth the wait, and it's worth the price tag when you see the detail that went into both shoes.
Oh my goodness, amazing. You know what, guys? I need to excuse myself. If not, I'm going to sit here and they're not going to be able to get rid of me. But thank you so much for that. I'm actually going to invite some other people to come and have a chat with you guys, because we're going to move on to a topic of building a strong brand, which I mean both of you are experts in. We explore the brand partnerships that have worked really, really well for local brands, as well as the considerations and, of course, associations that go with a good name, a slogan, a logo when creating a strong brand. Obviously, it's your identity, it's your image. We're going to go in depth now into the brand strategy and management of 2 really strong homegrown brands, Mighty Jacks and Limited Edition. And we're going to pick the brains of a global sporting goods CEO and local artist. Presenting up and joining them here on the stage while I make my exit, we're going to have Jackson Orr, who is CEO of Singapore-based Mighty Jacks. He is an award-winning future culture company aiming to supercharge the global collectible industry on an integrated future culture platform. And of course, alongside him, we will have Killick Datta, CEO of Global Brand Partners, who was formerly the ex-president of Skechers, Brooks, and holding senior positions at LA Gear.
Wow.
Gentlemen, enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys.
Hi.
How's it going, dude?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
So, welcome guys to Chamber.
Oh,
So great to have this really amazing group of individuals here. So today's talk is about branding and building a brand and a brand to last. So just excuse me, it's the first time I'm moderating anything. So, you guys gotta lead the way also, but there was a brief intro, but just to say how honored I am, I just want to introduce you guys again, if you don't mind, right? So I'll start off with Mr. Killick Datta. So I know you all are very humble, but just now hearing some of the stories was really amazing. So Killick worked at Nike when it was just starting out, right? And he talked about meeting people like Michael Jordan, John McEnroe. So, just amazing stories. He saw the growth of LA Gear when it was the biggest thing in the 80s. He's been president of Skechers, Brooks, Diesel. I mean, the list can go on. Right now, he manages global brand partners, which does brands like Beachbody, Gear Up. I don't know. I can go on and on. But maybe anything you want me to add, Killick?
Mandeep, you're embarrassing me now. So even my mother would be so proud if she could hear you. So now, I'm just happy to be
You're
here.
good. You're good.
Singapore.
I gave you justice, but I don't think I did. But really, amazing to have you on this stage. All of us are already in awe of
I
you.
wish I could record you and send it to my mother. So
I will pass you the copy of this recording. How about that?
No, but
nice.
Great store, by the way. Beautiful store.
Thank you.
Love this store. And as I said earlier, you've cost me a lot of money because my daughter buys stuff at 1 o'clock in the morning from you. And my store, my house is beginning to look like one of your retail stores with boxes everywhere. Tons of AJs, etc. So
Nice.
it's just...
I don't know whether to apologize or to thank you.
She will thank you for making them available, and I will come to you later on for the some payback for.
Oh no. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to move on. So Mark, also famously known as SBTG, Mr. Sabotage, long-time friend. People are calling us BFFs.
Yes.
I don't know.
We're BFFs.
We'll take that. But yeah, I mean, I've known him a long time and one of the OG sneaker customizers, and in my humble opinion, the best sneaker customizer in the world.
Thank you.
In my humble opinion. And I mean, he worked with so many brands: Nike, Reebok, New Balance, Asics, Puma. I can go on, but amazing catalog of work. You've started your own brand right now with sneaker accessories called Foxtrot Uniform. So we'll wait to hear about that later. And hey, even we start talking about whether we want to do our own brand around Monsoon Patrol right now. So I mean, I think it'll be a great discussion. And okay, anything you want me to add?
Oh, Seb, thank you for the introduction, and our future is bright.
Future is bright. And okay, last but not least, I straight away move on to Jackson. And Jackson is another amazing individual, CEO and founder of Mighty Jacks, somebody who's took his passion for toy collecting to another level by making it a global brand right now. And again, amazing work. You work with famous artists. We've formed brand partnerships with the likes of Warner Brothers, Sesame Street, Hasbro, Looney Tunes. Again, I can go on and on. There's so many amazing things you've done. So I mean, props to that. You want to add on for me?
No, you do. By far, you do a better introduction than myself. So,
okay,
thank you for that.
Thank you.
Very
So,
kind.
I mean, let's get straight in the discussion then, right? I mean, the introduction took quite long, and I'll blame myself for that. But I have to give you guys props because I'm just so honored you all are here. So let's start with the youngest in the panel today, Mr. Killick Datta. First question.
It's good.
And
He's a good host. You're doing a great
Wow,
job.
it's like starting.
Yeah, and I
all the
noticed
time.
you guys laughed when he said the youngest, Killick that. So
I was laughing at how witty he is.
Okay, enough. We can talk about this later. So anyway, first question, maybe I direct to you, and I'll share the same question. But do you think there's a tipping point that makes a good brand great?
tipping point. I think you guys all know there's tons of good brands, but I would say if there was one thing that is the most important ingredient is product. Product has to be brilliant, unique in some manner. You got a whole bunch of other things that play into it, timing and all that. But I think to me, a lot of average brands, a lot of good brands, but the ones that rise from those good brands, I think would be because the product is just, and not just one product, because you can have a one-hit wonder and do that, but to be able to season after season come up with, or if it's not in footwear and apparel, if it's in other industry, I guess, to be able to continuously come up with great product. And I think that's to me is the most important. All the rest, like marketing and all that, all supports this. But if the product is terrible, there's nothing you can in today's day and age, you can't really, you can't hide the fact that the product is not good. So I think I would say product is the key ingredient. Great product makes an average brand or a good brand become a great brand.
Right. Maybe, Mark, any examples of brands that resonate with you, taking into account what Killick has said?
I think I do 100% agree with you, and to resonate and have a parallel analogy to that, I think the product of Jordan brand was Michael Jordan's game, and his game was the product, and it speaks for itself. And he has retired for so long, and till this day there has been debates on who is the GOAT and all, and there will forever be people who are defending him, even though they are up and coming stars, and people who might win way more championships than him and stuff. And I think it's the legacy that the brand builds, and I feel that Jordan brand is a great brand. Yeah.
Just because we were talking about this earlier,
Yes.
Killick, when you were working with Jordan and Jordan brand in the early days, just seeing it happen unfold, did you think it would have that kind of legacy?
First of all, I'm a Laker fan. So I didn't know that till just early when you mentioned it. So definitely not a Bulls fan.
Okay.
But having said that, no, any of these deals that happen, there is no guarantees.
Yeah.
And Jordan his persona, his ability to, he captured the spirit of US at that time. Basketball became a global sport during that time. So many things played into it. But I have to tell you, when we saw that first Air Jordan shoe, black and, black, not exactly the sexiest shoe, sorry. It was, when we launched it, and most courts in the world wouldn't allow a black, it had to be white. It got banned by the NBA, etc. But I think not only was he a great sportsman, but beyond that, he had that persona, he had that appeal, sex appeal, and all that. I think that levitated, and the timing was good. Everything went right. And to answer your question, with most of these sort of sponsorship deals, there really isn't a guarantee.
Yeah.
At that time, no one knew you would be even thinking of him as a GOAT. At no point. So when that was signed, he came through the college ranks, came in. No one really knew what he would do. So I think no one really knows at any point. If anyone tells you they knew that they would have a product guaranteed to be what AJ became, that's not.
Then you wouldn't have given away all your signed Jordan sneakers.
Oh my God, my daughters, my kids hate me for having.
Did you ever come across the broken foot pair?
You won't believe what I used to. I used to give them away, and people used to actually give them back to me because they were worn.
Yeah.
Because they would say, I don't want to worn. And I went, hang on, this is a signed, and they wouldn't. But today it's worth.
Let's not. It's just killing me right now to think how much those were worth, right? But maybe to you, Jackson, any brand here you feel very passionate that maybe you like, but they did something which made you love them. It could be any brand, just to share something on your end.
First of all, if you have some spare Jordans, I'm available, so you can just.
Don't look at me.
Get in line. Get in line.
I'm second in line.
Oh, it's okay. You can.
My daughter lines up on his website.
I think I have a bit of.
The first dibs on that.
First
Yeah.
dibs, man.
So great question, right? I'm gonna take on a different angle over here because just now he mentioned the spirit of things, the essence of the brand as well. And one of this brand is not a lifestyle brand, but one of these brands that I really like the way it evolved while keeping the spirit is something like Virgin. Because it started out as a record company and then going to recording studios.
Sure.
And how it did micro pivots along the decades of its 40, 50 years of the life. It's quite amazing how many forms it takes. But the spirit and the essence is still, that's the spirit of Virgin.
Yeah.
I think that's a great example. It kind of funnily leads me to the next question, and this is maybe starts getting a bit more personal to your journey. like when you were first starting out, right? Was there like certain brand strategies that you decided, okay, this is what I want to do, and over this time, has it changed? Like just you mentioned Virgin, and maybe things changed over time. It's just with different generations, different product, different things around you. Maybe share your part.
Yeah, it's the journey where I'm at right now. We are like about 8 years in or so, and I met Mark also like way back
Along the way.
along the way on that, and at the beginning it's an extension of yourself almost because that is what your brand manifests, right? But later on, when your team gets bigger and you have a couple of more key stakeholders coming in, and that evolves. And how do you manage that original essence of that brand, throughout this expansion that we have? So now we have about 70 people or so, and that goes beyond what I just do every day. It has to be coming from all of them, like new people who comes in, the younger generation that comes in and with fresh idea. Okay, let's do this, and maybe at times I don't understand, but it's okay. It's about taking that leap of faith that you trust that they will do their best for the brand. Yeah. So it's about handing the baton over almost.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, definitely good point. Maybe Mark, I mean, I know you have been, that same question, back to that same question, I know you've very like, you have your core brand DNA, you stuck, throughout stuck very closely to that. It's difficult to sometimes convince you because, you feel very strongly about certain ways you do a brand. But has that evolved over time also for you?
Yeah, I mean, for when I started, the key ingredient was passion. Being passionate about something is like, it's in my DNA, and I can't do it any other way. So, I don't know, like, I don't have a plan B. Let's put it that way. Because first and foremost, I'm an artist, a skateboarder and artist. Then I stumbled into having my own business. So I've always been like fueling myself with passion, and it's still, in fact, it's bigger. But along the way, I guess what I've learned is to work with people and a team like yourself. So what I learned like over the years is like I don't always have to have it my way, and I've turned the focus to having happiness. Like the happiness of my team is the most important.
And more collaborative efforts.
And more collaborative effort. It's like, yeah, it's okay as long as everybody, I put a smile on everyone's face. And that makes me project out a good brand, I feel. That's what I stand for right now. Versus before, I was like, I want to express this. It has to be this way. It kind of evolved.
That's great. I mean, again, whatever you say is a perfect segue to the next question, which is collabs, right? Everybody is doing so many collabs these days, right? And every brand is, wanting to work with sometimes maybe even people which you would not expect the brand to work with, right? And maybe I'm going to address this to all of you guys also, and maybe you can share with me some things which, whether you think collabs are good or bad, or whether maybe share some own personal experience where it has, helped your brand or, worked well with your consumer base. So maybe I start with you, Killick, again. Anything to share on collaborations? You've been around for so long, anything what do you think about collaborations in the first place?
I thought you said I was the youngest.
You are. You are. You're youngest in spirit.
Collabs are, currently it's very big. And I think Nike's dropping a collab once a week now.
Yep.
So I think it's one of the things that possibly post-COVID we're going to see a lot of as Nike transitions to online. And most of these guys work online. So I think you're seeing more and more of that. But for all the ones we have done, hundreds of sponsorship deals, sports stars, and let's say musicians or recording artists or movie stars. And I said this to you earlier, I think for every one that you all recall as a very successful collab or a sponsorship or an endorsement, I can name you probably 50 that have failed or have not, very average. And so that's always a risk when you have a collab. You don't really know. Now, you even, for example, I said to you, came to see your father about it, and we did the biggest deal at that time with Michael Jackson and LA Gear.
Whoa.
It failed.
Oh.
As you know, his history, and we launched a line of kids' shoes. Complete disaster. On the other hand,
So it's with LA Gear, by the way.
yeah, that was LA Gear. So, but then there are, you know, you bring up Jordan or there's obviously there so I think, but collabs they work sometimes.
What's the recipe for success then?
I have to tell you, there is an element of luck, element of timing. If someone at Beaverton or where told you they knew or Addy in Herzo when Run DMC did the Superstar, I mean, no one could see that coming. You know, those things.
Timing.
There's chance involved. You do the best you can, and you throw your marketing behind it and hope that collaboration will take your own brand to a higher level, or expose you to an audience that you are not. For Nike to be $40 billion today and still be cool for the youngest, coolest people, and yet it's available just about everywhere, and yet it is cool. That is the challenge. That you've reached a level of branding, marketing.
Amazing.
That you know, you can be exclusive and just sell to 2-3 shops and say you're exclusive and be cool because you're exclusive. But to be like a Nike, doing collabs, this, that, and yet selling in the US $60 shoes, Taichung, and all the lesser price shoes, tons in all kinds of retail, not just cool stores like yours. That's amazing. But I think collabs. It's you know, I would like to think hit or miss, unless you got an absolute mega star that you can't go wrong. Drake, we mentioned Drake earlier. Things that you just can't go wrong by doing I think there are some stars that the product can
Some
look.
things you know is going to work. Some things you have to, you know, work on it a bit harder. And yeah, I mean, which maybe Jackson is somebody who, just because you worked with so many, like maybe your business is almost more collaboration based than any of us, right? You know, it's with artists, it's with brands, you know, to do these fantastic collectibles. Anything you can share on, you know, on what do you think on collabs, or give examples for you, what has, you know, made your brand just go to that other level?
You know, my Ajax is born out of collabs, simply because I can't draw like Mark. Yes. But, you know, we first worked with Clock 2, a local artist, and we are continuing to work with him still. And that was the very first piece that we did, and we did a lot of other artists. But there's a catalyst in our timeline where we work with one of the bigger boys, you know, in IP. So, for example, Warner Brothers, right? So that was our first collaboration, and that really propelled us on a level that we have never been able to reach. Like what you mentioned as well, the mass market.
How did you get that? How did you, you know, make that happen?
So, you know, if you're a 4-person toy company in Singapore, nobody really wants to talk to you, like in the US. And so I managed to find the email of the global head of toys.
Wow.
So I just emailed him and, you know, asked for some time. And he said, fine, come by Warner Brothers studio. You know, I have half an hour for you on Friday. I said, okay, fine, where's that? It's like, Burbank. I'm like, I'm in Singapore. Took a flight down with my wife, who's just over there right
serious?
now.
Nice.
Drove up from LA to Burbank, met him we spent 10 minutes talking shop, quite honestly. He liked what he see, he shook on it, and he gave us a global deal. And
Wow.
that really opened that
Amazing
whole
story.
channel.
I mean, it's persistence, right? Make it happen.
I mean, the most he'll say no, so, you know.
Yeah, it's a risk.
Seems okay.
Great story, man. Wow, respect.
How about you, Mark? This whole collaboration piece, this whole story, I'm sure you can share a lot of stories too.
I think my business is also built on collaboration. I'm collaborating every single day with a brand, with whatever, with you and stuff. But I think the collaboration equation has to work. Like 1 + 1 must not equals to 2. It needs to be way more than 2. You got to build something that individually these these
Oh, yeah, I just thought. I mean, so that's something which collaboration. It might not always work or might not always be the best idea.
Yeah.
But how do you both add value to each other?
Yeah.
Right. I think that's where it works,
You
right?
got to build something that individually you can't do, and the purpose of that collaboration is to inject emotion and excitement to the consumer. They have to feel part of it, excited about it. I think that's the purpose of collaboration for me. And
Any one thing that example now where you can say that, hey, this is what Jackson had a very nice story, which is yours.
to relate to his story, I've done many exciting collaborations in the past, but I feel that I have to attribute all that, like me being still in business and me being still relevant, is the history of my collaboration with Nike SB.
Sure.
I was a kid back then, and I got a call. I was like 23 years old, I think. I got a call from Nike, which you introduced to me. Now we got that on record. So
I'm working behind the scenes.
yes, and I said, well, would you like to do a Nike SB project or a Nike considered project? I said, no-brainer. I've been a skateboarder my entire life, and I did. So I had that design in my head because I was customizing shoes. I'm always having running designs. I'm running Photoshop in my brain all the time. And when the opportunity came, I sat down on the computer and I finished that design in 2 hours and I submitted it. And that changed my entire life to this day.
Wow.
Amazing stories.
Yeah,
You guys are just amazing, really.
I wanted to be like Mike. I wanted my name on the shoe. I got my name on the shoe when I was 23.
How many people can say that? How many people can say that?
26, not 23, 26, yeah.
3 years.
So that was my personal successful collaboration.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next question. I mean, it's all very, very positive, but hey, we all know building a brand is not easy. A lot of hard work, a lot of things, and maybe I'll direct this to you again, Mark. Has there been occasions, because it's more you're on the creative side and you talked about, but has there been occasions where, hey, because you do such good work, maybe there be copycats or you felt your intellectual property was infringed, along those lines, or how did you deal with that?
I first got copied when, actually one of my first customs, it was like a Air Safari pattern transferred into an Air Force One. I think that was 2004. My first ever customer bought that shoe and got it featured on a magazine in Hong Kong.
Okay.
So a month later, there were bootlegs everywhere. I'm like,
Crazy.
wow, how did this happen? They didn't even have the shoe, and how did they copy it? So there's so much scheming and intention going on.
So how did you feel it? I mean, sometimes they say imitation is the best form of flattery, but did you take it?
I took
personally, or
it.
you took it?
Honestly, I didn't know how to feel. So there were so many options, like anger or whatever, but like I chose to feel flattered. So I chose to feel like that. I was so young, and so I'm like, wow, that's cool, man. And then soon down the line, whenever I get my designs featured in a Hong Kong magazine, Hong Kong is near Shenzhen, right? So where all the factories are. So they must be reading the magazines, and sure enough, like, oh, there's another fake. So I started collecting my own fake items. But after that, I just threw them away and stuff. Like, it was too many. I don't know, when a factory level kind of like copies you take that as flattery, but like when a person not from that background tries to copy you, I think it hurts more. And
I mean, after all this, have you now, now you say it hurts more, have you taken steps to protect your brand or stuff like that?
I've consulted people, and it's really, really hard. Like, it's like trying to trademark the color black. You can't really say that. So I don't know. I think how I dealt with it is to always stay ahead. I always
get what you
want
mean.
to like innovate.
I get what you mean. People might copy that, but then you do something different.
You keep innovating and like being ahead, because I could spend. I have 24 hours a day. I could spend my time like, grieving about all these things and like feeling emotional and stuff. Or I could spend my time innovating and like improving and like stuff. So I choose to do that. Of course, I speak to like, I have illegal help and stuff, so I'm always in touch with them, so make sure nothing like extremely bad happens, but yeah. So it's really focus your energy.
Maybe again back to the youngest. Do you have words of advice for that? Like, again, protecting your brand, or even just, how do you make your brand stand the test of time? Any advice? I mean, obviously, these people still young in their brands. I mean, what can they do? Any other things they do? Not maybe even if it's not just the IP protection, but what other things they can stay ahead?
I think you should be flattered that they're copying you, and I'm directing this to you, because in every brand we've had, there's always someone is knocking off and tweaking and this and that. So you can't stop that. And patents are not, you cannot get a patent quick enough.
Yeah.
You've already moved on to the next thing.
Yep.
But what you can sleep well at night thinking is basically that the customer feels good buying your product.
Yes.
And that customer's never going to touch that knockoff. Like luxury brands, Louis Vuitton, or people stand in line, buy a real Birkin bag from Hermes. They say, whenever they can afford it, they price that.
Yeah.
And you can buy the knockoff in China for what, $100, $50, whatever. It takes away. And so that customer that buys that and feels good buying a knockoff is not your customer anyway. So it's not really hurting you.
Different market segment.
It's and you'll never, because you're moving on, they'll never catch you.
Yeah.
If you keep innovating and moving, they are always behind.
One step
on your back rear view mirror. It's okay. You can't stop him. So you might as well just let it go, knowing that you will always be recognized for being the leader in that respect. So I think that there's no real legal protection as such, unless there's a logo or a brand name.
Yeah.
Patents are you can tweak a patent so easy, and it's it's very difficult to protect. But I think the person who respects what you do, that customer is never going to buy a knockoff from China, from a factory anywhere.
Knowing that fact gives me a lot of peace of mind. Like that guy who buys the knockoff will not. He's not my customer.
Yep.
Yeah, he's so.
Makes a lot of sense. So, and yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have stuff to say also, Jackson. But maybe just on to the next question is, you were a local brand, now you became an international brand. How did you move from there? What can you give advice also, from that transition? Did some kind of mindset have to change, or what advice can you give everybody watching that, how to have that? Yeah, you start small, but how can you build a bigger brand and a global brand, and not just, hey, I'm just that Singapore brand? Any advice you can give?
I think because I identified our market to be mostly overseas, so your Hong Kong, which is more mature, Japan, Korea, and mostly US at a point of time. So when we got out of the gate, we were in US dollars on e-commerce
You started
already.
global almost.
Yeah, it was global. But also there is a tinge of that, you see, because when you're educated as part of this whole system and you sort of grow thinking that, we're going to make it big outside, and then, you sort of get bigger domestically. Sure. And to some extent that is true, right? Because brand value does play a part. Yep. But it's the amount of grind and hustle you put into your work, and we are all here because of that.
True.
And we are able to see opportunities in places that they might not seem to be. And we find those holes and we expand upon them and find that to be our niche. And I think you must have a way to think beyond what you know right now, because it's what about you don't know, and that is the key. Yeah.
Mark, do you think you started global also, or do you think you started your base here?
I started on Nike Talk, like chatting with him, and so I immediately identified that most of the consumers are from the US. So I chose USD as my currency on my online store right off the bat. And I don't know, I always felt that my designs could speak to a global audience because it's not very local based, and that's what I set out to do anyway. So,
Fantastic.
so it worked out for me.
I mean, just want to say, props for flying our local flag. Even, thank you. I mean, yes, you're both global, but thank you for flying our local flag high up. And
We fly our flag together. We all fly our flag together, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So, I mean, again, last question maybe, and this is, again, it's this whole new world, social media, right? Again, I'm going to start with the youngest. So, social media, the whole, new platforms like TikTok, stuff like that. How important do you think it's become for, a brand's messaging strategy? I'm going to put this to all of you guys also, but I mean, you constantly have new brands. You start, you've done things in the past in the old way, and now you have to move to a new way. What's your take on that in the whole social media world?
It is just another form of media. So it's a current form of media. I started in the industry before you guys were born. So we had print. I could make a brand by wrapping your buses, and you would see my buses go around with Today, it's changed. The customers changed, but nothing dramatic. It's not. It's not a revolution. It's an evolution of media. And when TVs came, you started seeing TV ads, more videos. Then that phased away. Then now it's you got all the apps now, and you got all the social media. FB is already old, so there's all the time. So it's another media. But I think the digital age, what it has changed from the beginning of when I started, is how fast it is, how connected the world is today.
People's attention spans also?
You got your, let's say, your website, globally it can be seen.
Yeah.
In the old days, I had separate media planners for Asia, for Japan. I had media buying agencies that looked at media that was big in, let's say, Singapore or Hong Kong or wherever. Today, it's a lot more global. And what you guys are doing can become global much easier today.
Sure.
But that's the good side. The bad side is a lot of other people like you guys are also existing.
Yeah.
We're also getting, so the competition has increased.
Yeah.
But your ability to go from, to me, Singapore, to me, which is the capital of Asia, not as a city-state. To me, I think of Singapore as like the central base for Asia. To go from, before you would think very local, or maybe Malaysia.
Yeah.
Every time we came, Singapore, Malaysia would be. Today, you can think like you both are US, wherever.
Yeah.
Because you're digital, with the digital media today, you can now. So I think things have changed to the point, it's much faster.
Yeah.
Social media is another thing, and that's, mobile. It's all going to be mobile. It's moved to laptops going away. It's going to be completely mobile driven. So it's becoming faster. I think younger people are more curious. QR codes, this, that. In Japan, everything has a code. You zap all the information. It's so much more for young people today than in my time when we had catalogs, brochures, printed stuff. All that's. So to me, social media is another media. It's substituted print magazines that you guys probably have never read.
Not that old, not that.
What?
But I see. I think I'm the only one in my building, where I live, that still gets the your Straits Times. I think that's a. They look at me and go, "Oh God, this guy must be prehistoric." but so I think it's another media. It's you got to know how to study the analytics. There's a science to it too. It's less hit or miss, like buying a billboard outside Changi or whatever. Today you can, with analytics, you can manage your brand better. But it's another media today.
Okay. Now, Jackson, maybe can you give us some examples of how you have embraced social media and to get out your brand message? Great insight from Killick, but some practical things which you have done, or whether it's new platforms, or how do you keep abreast of whatever's happening? Because, like you say, things are changing so fast. They might move from this to another, and what are you doing?
Truth be told, this question scares me because I don't use TikTok. and I have to lean on to the younger ones.
My daughter is so into TikTok, and I mean, it scares me too.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I started, there was already IG, of course, and everything else that comes with it. And it's a great platform to showcase visual works, right? Which is what we do.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for that. And we actually don't spend a lot of marketing costs even till now, simply because we have built up over the years.
Following, you mean?
And
That's
following, and the followings are, they are largely loyal and they are customers and collectors as well. So then that base are always tapping onto our latest social media, what we're releasing and so on. So that helps a lot. So we don't really have to buy that ad part of things. But of course, with certain changes they're doing with the platform, with Facebook and everything else, then all the other campaigns and everything had to start coming in, right? Most definitely, yeah.
And Mark, what do you use? Like anything new on social media, or are you still sticking with the same old? Or do you use the traditional methods also?
I'm heavily on Instagram because I think that's where everyone is. TikTok, haven't caught on that yet, but I've seen some like amazing formats of like advertising and showcasing your work. But I'm always at night. I'm always on Instagram, chatting and like with my customers, like directly like going on the comments and like checking out, like you get instant feedback, and it's like, oh, you can, with this feedback you can actually tweak. I actually feel like very on the ground when I'm on social media, feeling like what people are feeling and what people want from us and how we can
so
improve.
Direct.
And
I mean, it's so direct. You mean you're dealing with the customers even up to today one-on-one?
no, because I really enjoy it, and like I want to know what they want, and I'm able to make amendments the next day. So that keeps me ahead, like quick and stuff. So yeah, I really enjoy it.
That's why you're so successful at what you do, because this respond, and not a lot of people can take criticisms like that and make changes to fit that. But that is...
See, that's what I think. That's what's passion.
Right.
I think during the day when you're doing your grind, your stuff, your logistics and all that, it's like you're building the product, like whatever you're selling, but the interaction, like, so at night I start my second job. So like being on social media, getting the feedback is a full-time job on its own, and I view it as that. And yeah, I think that is great. It's great feedback.
I mean, amazing insight today. I think we could go on and on, but the sad thing is, I think we have to, end it. And just once again, thank you for being a part of this. I hope the viewers out there had some great knowledge passed down, and hopefully even inspire some of you to start up your own brand, whether small, big, very niche. Like I say, as long as you have a target market, you learn from some great people today, some fantastic success stories. So thank you once again. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
you.
Thank you to Mandeep, Jackson, Mark, Killick. I was listening back there, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. Y'all can't see me, but I'm like, yeah. Agreeing with all of that stuff. Brands are so important. I gotta find the camera. No, here. I'm my own brand, so I think I'm definitely gonna implement this kind of stuff into how I carry myself moving forward. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Everyone here, let's give them a big round of applause. It's not every day that we get to have 4 incredible men and then we get to pick their brain. Super, super cool.